Welcome to Wild, Women in Lending Determined to Make an Impact. I'm your host, Robin Lavasser. They say our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together. Welcome back to Wild. Communication. When we see problems in the world, I cannot tell you how frequently it comes down to either expectations, spoken or unspoken, and communication in general. It's not actually, today I want to talk about one that's not probably the one that we usually would talk about, not just from a loan officer perspective, but in general, the kind of communication that is aware of humans being humans. Because sometimes we forget that. And so we communicate the way that we want to communicate. We deliver messages the way we want to. I know my husband and I can kind of banter back and forth. And he's saying, hey, I'm just talking to you right now. And I'm saying, no, you're not. You deliver it in a different way. And all of a sudden we're heightened, if you will, or we're shut down, right? That's a common emotion that comes in. And so I learned through a lot of leadership training that every conversation that we have, whether it's with our team, it's with our partners, with our family, it runs through one of four emotions on both sides. There's a component of emotional safety, psychological safety, if you will, that then will allow people to open up and respond authentically. And that's what we're really looking for, right? For people to be able to tell us the truth. How are they feeling? What they are hearing, what that means to them, right? Are they going to take the next action we want them to? All of these components come down to that communication. And as we're communicating, we're running through emotions. As they're hearing it, they're running through emotions, especially the tougher conversations. So let's talk about what those four emotions are. It's mad, sad, glad, scared. Let me say it again. Mad, sad, glad, scared. Let's start with mad. Mad, you would think, is really apparent, if you will, on how someone's feeling, but it doesn't always mean losing control or losing your cool, if you will, or yelling. Sometimes you're mad, people can just internalize it, right? It's a quiet frustration. And it's that irritated feeling of being, whether you're stuck or fighting or something that just won't move away from you. And you really are able to say, hey, I'm mad. I'm mad about this. If you're a branch manager, maybe you're saying, or you're a loan officer, maybe you're saying, I'm mad that my production has plateaued over the last few years. Maybe you're mad because your team isn't catching your vision or isn't executing on things the way that you want them to execute. And so you feel like you're doing everything and you're still not able to break through, right? Maybe a 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of teamwork currently. And so those things are making you mad. And so here's the truth. Mad, that emotion is actually information for you. It's actually information. And it tells you something is off in the alignment. That's what it's telling you, right? Like, I'm mad because I feel like something is off in the alignment. And the problem isn't the being mad. It's the problem of not being able to communicate. I feel, and I want to emphasize this piece. I feel, I choose to feel, I make myself feel. Sometimes we'll say, they made me mad. No, they don't. You could respond as Minnie Mouse to everything all day long, happy. Nobody can make you mad, but you can say, I feel mad when this happens. And that's not an inappropriate emotion, but you don't want to say somebody made me feel this way. And that in itself is a powerful leadership lesson that you can teach in anything that you're leading, whether it's in a business partner relationship, loan officer, as a branch manager or a team member of a loan officer. In any business with any assistant, you can work through these things in a spouse relationship, significant other, all of those things, children. Hey, how are you feeling? It's when they don't communicate it at all that mad can build up. And man, then it leaks out sideways, right? It leaks out in sarcasm. It leaks out in burnout. It leaks out in microcontrol. It leaks out in more balls getting dropped. It leaks out in calling in sick frequently, potentially at the office. But when you can stop and say, hey, I'm frustrated because I care and I want this to be better, the whole tone shifts. right? The whole tone shifts and you go from emotional reactivity to leadership clarity. So this could be you yourself feeling this. I'm mad. I feel mad, and you're not dealing with it. And then you seep out. I always tell people, man, when you're leading people and you're mad about their behavior and you're not doing anything about it, you are doing something about it. You're just not acknowledging that you're doing something about it. And what I mean by that is avoiding it is an action. Coming out passive aggressively, that's an action. These are all things that people do when they're mad, but they don't want to look at somebody and say, hey, and instead of using the word mad, which sometimes can be a scary word, you can say, hey, I'm frustrated when this, but I want to do this, right? Here's my intention. Here's what I want to have the outcome be. Let's go to sad. Next is sad. Sad in leadership often, as a leader, looks like disappointment or loss, a relationship that's changed, a dip in momentum, a sense that a connection isn't what it once used to be. So maybe you've worked hand in hand with somebody for a really long time and all of a sudden there's distance between you. Maybe you have an employee that's leaving or hasn't been performing as well and you're feeling sad. Maybe a top producer left you. I've had that happen to me, right? Dear friend, top producers literally leave me as a leader and whew, it's painful, right? And you feel sad about it. And so maybe your own energy is being impacted by that and your energy isn't where it was last year and people feel that because well, maybe you're grieving what once was. I know a lot of people over the last 4 years, especially in real estate in general, lending and real estate, have been grieving what they feel like was lost from the numbers and the outcomes that they were getting during COVID, right? So there can be some grief in there. Sadness is absolutely a part of leadership. I will say that and it's not one to be avoided. It's one that, hey, leadership is love. And I can tell you from, I've lost both of my parents. I was very sad when they died, very sad. I was sad when they were dying because sad is a form of caring enough to feel something in the midst of an absence or a loss, if you will. And it's really the form of love. It's saying, I love this so much that I'm sad that it's over. I'm sad that it's done. I'm sad that this has changed. I'm sad this outcome didn't happen the way I wanted it to be. And so when you can name it, you can say, hey, I'm sad. We're not where we once were. You might be able to say, be honest with me. What would it take to get back there? Instead of, I'm sad and I'm not going to perform as well either and put people's jobs in jeopardy, right? I'm sad and grieving, but I'm not going to talk about it. When you are vulnerable with your own sadness as a leader, you give people permission and then trust starts to rebuild and they can talk about it as well, right? And sad doesn't mean I'm disappointed in you directly. It's saying I have a feeling and I need to get it out there. Very big deal. So I feel sad when, right? I feel sad when. Glad. I love this one. I'm a big glad person. I love to be happy and positive, and I think it makes a really big difference. This one doesn't get enough airtime in leadership, and I think we're all guilty of it. I always say, man, oh man, oh man, do we not celebrate enough, right? We get very hung up on fix this, that wasn't good enough, this is chaotic, there was a ball dropped here, there's something wrong over here. And we kind of say this is the chaos of mortgage, right? Loans are hard, lots of eyes, lots of hands are touching it. And so we revert to, we could fix this, we could be better here, we could do this, but we don't really go to glad for very long, if at all. And that is a huge leadership miss. Doesn't get enough airtime. Glad is, I'm prideful. I'm not prideful as in a negative thing. Pride, like I'm proud of what's happening. I'm aligned, if you will. That means you're glad in what's happening. I have great energy around it, excitement, and it reminds us like, hey, I have a passion or a purpose. That's a glad moment, right? I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. It reminds me to keep going. I want to keep doing this. It's little things like seeing your team win. It's the first text from a client saying, I can't believe I just bought a home. You changed my life. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for showing me, this is so exciting. It's quiet moments when you drive and you think, I just had a few conversations this week where loan officers said, I can't believe I'm closing 10 loans. I can't believe this was my paycheck last month. It's okay to be glad in those moments, to verbally be glad, to be proud of them, right? To feel in alignment with them. And when you can communicate from a glad space, it actually makes you magnetic. Not in an ego check way, but a lot of people tell me, Robin, you're super magnetic. When I learned this structure, I was like, gosh, I feel like I focus a lot in the glad space and I'm really good at communicating the glad. I'm not perfect at it. I could do better at it, but I'm really good at communicating the glad. And when you're authentically glad, not a fake cheerleader, but like authentically glad, grounded in the glad, people want to follow you. They know you're genuine in how you celebrate them. Sometimes I'll be glad and just, hey, this was a tough circumstance today, and I'm proud of you for how you just tackled it. I'm proud of you because 6 months ago, you would have wanted a pound of flesh for that error that happened. And this time you're giving grace and focused on solutions. I'm proud of you for that. That's not a, hey, sorry that happened, but you did great. That's, and I won't call that fake cheerleader. There could be still some substance behind it, but what a difference it makes when instead you can really articulate to somebody what you are glad in for them as a leader. Big difference when you can say it loud, celebrate it, high five. Can't believe we got that done. Tell more people, share the good news, if you will, right? Share the gospel of good things happening in mortgage. One of the things that you can say is, hey, team, I'm proud of us. That was a hard month. That was a hard loan. That was a hard client. That was a hard referral partner. I was hard during that, right? That was a black cloud and you overcame, like saying I'm proud. And sometimes we don't do it because we're exhausted or we still have that little bit of mad space. And so getting into that glad emotion is so important, and then sharing it with others. The last one, and it's the one that I probably hate, but I think is present the most, and that is scared. Scared, scared, scared. Scared doesn't mean weak. It means aware. I want to say it again. Scared doesn't mean weak. It means aware. It's the uncertainty that we all feel, the pressure, the fear of the unknown, wondering if the next move will work, the next decision, right? It's anxiousness around, what if the client doesn't choose me? What if the realtor doesn't send me that next lead? What if it's having that scared feeling, and it's honestly presented often as pressure, fear of the unknown, wondering if the next move that you make will work or not. And maybe it's a fear of things you absolutely have zero control over. What if rates don't come down? What if my pipeline dries up? What if I can't lead and produce and get my hours under control? There's so many things that bring us fear, and it comes out in a lot of different ways. But I will tell you, one of the things as a leader that is so critical is helping people talk through they're scared, helping people talk through fear and feeling comfortable, not even necessarily solving it, but sharing it to make it feel a little lighter internally. What a big difference that makes. And courage is not, I'm never scared. Courage is, I'm moving despite being scared. I'm moving despite being scared. That is courageous. The best leaders communicate from fear with honesty instead of control. And so I sometimes will say, hey, I don't know if this is going to work, right? Like, but we're going to give it a try. We're going to fail forward. Doesn't mean that I don't have a little bit of scared, right? I don't like scarcity mindset. That's what I should say. I didn't really like, but it doesn't mean I'm not ever scared. I am scared. We're all scared at any given time, right? I don't have all the answers right now, but I believe in where we're headed. I believe in what's next. That's when your team hears you're not trying to sell me perfection, but you are present and aware of what's going on, and you are being authentic with me, transparent with me. And so before every conversation that you have as a leader, my challenge to you is, are you willing to say which one of these four, glad, sad, mad, scared, am I currently operating from? And take those adjectives that I gave you around them and say, hey, if I'm mad, sad, glad, or scared, there's not a wrong emotion in that. It's not I immediately have to stop being that. It's I just named it. I'm aware of it. Now I'm going to call it out authentically in my communication. And when we communicate from clarity instead of just the emotion piece of it, but clearing it, we build psychological safety, not only for ourselves, but for other people. And when you say, I'm scared, somebody might say, I'm scared too. You might say, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated as well. Okay, now we're verbalizing, which means we can start solving and hopefully move as often as possible into that glad space. It's the work of leadership, and it's the very wild part of being humans. And so every time you're about to go have a conversation of any sort, I want you to assess those four emotions. I want you to assess them, even if you're having a conversation with yourself. Identify, speak them out loud, from a place of intention and how to move. What would it take? I want you to think in your head, what would it take if right this moment I know I feel mad? What are the things that I'd love to see happen or I'd love to take action upon to move to glad? And the more frequently we can move to glad, the better off we'll all be. We'll see you soon.